Hey, good morning. It is Sunday, November 16th, 2025, and you are watching the Show About Nothing with John Daly. Welcome to downtown sunny Springfield. It rained last night, so it was a little cloudy this morning, but the sun is coming through, also with a little breeze. So I decided to do our fireside chat this morning. As you can see right behind me here, we got the fireside chat going. And again, it's Sunday morning, so of course I'm coming from church, so I have a message on that. But again, it's amazing because it rained last night. It felt a little cool. I even felt it in my room. I had my extra blanket on, my quilt, thanks to Lori Anglin. I still have that quilt, and it's good. You know, this time of year we had a bunch of quilts come in for the needy, and we gave them out throughout the week. And what a blessing it is when you have your own made by a good friend, and it comforts you at night, keeps you warm, and keeps you realistic in knowing what a blessing it is to even have something like a blanket and a place to call home, a bed, a pillow. You wake up and you've got a meal ready for you. So yeah, it's just the blessings of the day. And I'm going to go with a different message this morning, the Show About Nothing. It's going to be about inner strength and peace and keeping the faith. But I think that's all part of it too. It was a blessing. I walked to church this morning, and it was a little breezy, but the sun was coming out in downtown Springfield, sunny Springfield. I've been saying sunny Springfield for so many months that I'm going to be surprised the day it's snowing, raining, and dark out. But it's just a cheery place. It's a nice city, third biggest city in Massachusetts, and but it feels like a big town to me, like a big comfortable town. It's safe, it's fun, the people are great. We're in the mountains, we're off the Connecticut River. I don't recommend swimming there and jumping off the bridges, although I'm sure some people do. But yeah, there's a lot to be thankful for this morning. And I was looking at the message, when I got to church today, and it was in 2 Thessalonians. I'm going to put my glasses on. My good glasses broke last night. I was so disappointed. $500 progressive glasses, and I was cleaning them, and I guess I was cleaning them a little aggressively, and they snapped. So now I got my cheap Walmart Mass Health glasses on. So I apologize ahead of time. So they're bifocals, so I could see here and I could see here. But if you look through the middle, you're just blind. So again, showing you my fireside chat this morning over by the castle. The tree is up, but the official tree lighting is Friday, November 28th. So I'm going to come to you live Friday the 28th, the tree lighting by the ice skating rink in front of my castle and by the hotel. I'm in the lobby right now with my library of old books and just 2 stories of old books and old furniture. It gives you that old rustic feeling, nostalgic feeling. But yeah, so this morning I came from Our Lady of Mount Carmel. It's a nice little church. There's plenty of churches in Springfield, including Catholic churches. I haven't been to the parish yet. I've heard good things about it. But the Our Lady of Mount Carmel reminds me of my parents' church, St. Mary's in Roslyn. It's a nice area. It's a nice church. It's a small church. Everybody knows your name. Not quite like in Cheers respects, but you know what I mean. So. And they got a good message there every week, a nice little homily, and you get the Eucharist every week, and you get a little homily message, and you just really get in touch with going back to today's topic about nothing, with inner strength and inner peace, and talk about coffee and energy drinks like I did, I think, the last time. This is my my energy shot every week, and so I make it count, and that's important. And, people go to church for various reasons, and I respect them all. But for me, I've gone to Catholic Masses and non-Catholic Masses. And, the Catholic Mass is for me a very inner-oriented, inner dialogue, inner spirit, inner peace. It's an internal, event for me. And an internal thing. It's my energy shot, my medicine, my aspirin, however you want to put it. And then when I go to other churches, with great worship and a 45-minute lesson and a sermon, that energizes me in a different direction where I just love to help others. So in the Catholic Church, I'm going for myself, and I'm getting help for myself. And when I'm going to another church, I feel like just running out the door and helping others like almost immediately. And I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. If you go to both Mass and you go to church service, let me know in the comments or in a message of some sort, what you get out of church and what it means to you. That would be pretty neat. I know this time of year, it's a Thanksgiving time of year. A year to remember loved ones. That's why we started October with All Saints and All Souls Day, and we finished the month with Thanksgiving. And I'm grateful for a lot of people. I've lost loved ones, being, getting older. A lot of people don't like getting older, but it's not a blessing afforded to everybody. So, you might have some aches and pains. You might have a little gray hair or a gray beard in my case for No Shave November. But just be grateful, to grow old. I'll give a quick example. My parents were in their 80s and they were married for over 60 years and probably knew each other for 70. And, that's a nice way to grow old, just to make it that far with somebody, number one, but just to be able to look back and see how far you've come and how long you've come and how the world has changed. And it really is, it's better to grow old, with all of its, problems and issues than it is not to, that's for sure. And, now I'm at an age where I look back at my 20 and 30-year-old me, and I've shared this before too. I've been there. I've looked back at my 20 and 30-year-old me, and they wouldn't recognize the person I am today. And I'm grateful for the person I am today, even with all my problems and issues and things, struggles of the past. They've all made me who I am. So if I'm happy, if I'm healthy, if I'm grateful, everything was worth it. Every trial and tribulation, every bad job, every bad relationship, every flat tire, every Dunkin' Donuts order wrong, it was all worth it in the end, because it brought me here, and here I am with you on a sunny Springfield Sunday, and I've got my show going, my show about nothing. You might get a double dose of daily today. I might present again later. I was working with one of my friends last night, Phil Boston Riz, and we did a little something we put together for his show. He's got a bunch of shows too, and it was neat. So we were kind of doing like a pre-trial promotional thing, and it was pretty neat. And what I like is I like off the cuff. I like talking about nothing and it meaning something, which is why my show is the show about nothing. It usually does wind up being something, and I enjoy spreading my feelings and emotions and my joy and my issues and problems too. It helps me. It's a blessing for me to be a blessing to other people, and that's what I go with here each week. And I probably should have been doing this a long time ago, but those who know me, and I like to procrastinate. And but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in a season, and it's all just meant to be in the end. So today's Thessalonians was about in the storm and in suffering and in struggles, being a model to others. And that's what the mission is really all about, not just helping others, but we're helping others because we've needed help at some point. We've needed the help, and we're giving the help we either received or we're being the help that we didn't receive. And that's an important thing, and it's a good thing to reflect on. I think I have that on one of my posts today on Facebook. I have Recovering from Life. So if you look up on Facebook Recovering from Life, you'll get one of my pages, which it's not political, it's not religious, it's just inspirational. Sometimes it's religious because, again, if you know me, you know me, but in a positive way. It's affirming, it's inspirational, it's encouraging. Again, it's my page on Recovering from Life. I have my regular Facebook page, which a lot of you are on, and I'm blessed for that. And then I have my conspiracy page, which I've lightened up on. During election seasons and election turmoils, I tend to get a little political on the conspiracy page, but I've learned to lighten up a little bit and use a little humor. I want to keep all my stuff light. I want to keep it inspirational. I want to keep it humorous, including this little podcast that we're doing. So the second reading was from the book of Luke, and again, it was a theme of struggles and being a light. So I'm going to read this to you right here. Let me get to the page. just to get you where I'm thinking this morning about inner strength and inner peace, and how that could be a blessing to others, because you can't help others if you can't help yourself. So let's see what this says. Again, I'm using my bifocals. My good glasses broke, so you'll have to forgive me. So the reflection today is a lighthouse in the storm, and that's for me, that's just a great metaphor. I love it. I've used it before. So it says, when I was growing up, and this is in me, I'm reading this. Let me give you a little bit more of that fire in my fireside chat as I read this. Or maybe not. With these bifocals, they're a little deceiving. All right. When I was growing up in New England, I also like to read it because it's a New England story. When I was growing up in New England, I'd occasionally, and also it's the time of year, talking about, being a lighthouse in the storm, we just had the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I posted about that last week, and you guys know the song. I think it's by Gordon Lightfoot or somebody like that. And so what else is there? The Perfect Storm. I forget that. I think that was also this time of year. I think that was in the 90s. I'll have to look it up later. So you have the Edmund Fitzgerald, you have the Perfect Storm, and then all of a sudden I go into today's homily and sermon, and it's about a lighthouse in the storm. Now this one is usually the lighthouse I like to reflect and have you be, or myself be, the lighthouse. In this case, they're talking about Jesus as the lighthouse, and you'll see why in the reading. But it's also important to keep for us, because our body is a temple. I talked about that last week, and we have to show others our faith, not our fear, not our failures, not our fight all the time. We want to show people the light in us, and we need to be an anchor in other people's storms. Okay, and aside from being an anchor, we need to throw out life jackets. So help, don't hurt. Okay. So when I was growing up in New England, I'd occasionally go on a whale watch, not looking for like a date or something, like actual real whales. Just kidding, sorry, bad sense of humor. We're going out for a whale watch. Once we went out with calm waters and clear skies, but on the way back in the sea got rough. I remember thinking we should turn left or right towards the shoreline I could see, but the pilot, and that reminds me of my quote of the day is, ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are made for. I love that quote. So ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are made for. So quote in between this little message here. So we kept going straight right towards into the waves, focused on small, discouraging, on a small sea line, discouraging. We saw a distant lighthouse. Even when it flickered in and out of sight, we stayed the course and we knew where we were going. So again, they're heading towards the lighthouse, which is further away, because they knew it was going to be safer than the seashore, for whatever reason in this story. Those images come to mind when I hear the words in the gospel today. Don't follow everything that is that you think is good and safe for yourself at that time. I remember last year praying for a certain job that I was going for, and I really wanted the job, and I prayed for the job, and I didn't specifically get that job. And now here I am a year later in a better place, in a better mindset and heart set, body, mind, and soul are a 180 from last year, and this wasn't what I prayed for. I was praying for the perfect job, which I was interviewing for, and eventually it was with a special need. Everyone knows I work with special needs, and this was like a one-on-one for ARC in a nice area with a specific young adult, and it was basically showing them not only life skills, but take them out places. They were a bit of an extrovert, and they needed to go out and experience going to a restaurant or going to a farm or going to a library. And so it was basic life skills, but it was also basic social skills. And the job was paid very well, probably $1,000 a week, and they paid for gas and they paid for meals, and it was right up my alley. And what happened was they were all set to offer me the position, and the client they were expecting wound up not going with ARC. They went with another program. So the ARC tried to offer me a job for, I'll say, a lot. Well, I'll say it dropped for less than $1,000 a week. It was probably $750 a week, and it was working at a group home with individuals that had behavior issues. So I didn't get the specific job, and I didn't get the specific money, so I didn't take it. And we kind of all know what happened. The rest of the year kind of spiraled down for me. I got it. It was getting late in the year. It was getting darker. It was getting colder. It was around the holidays. I was going through my depressive modes. With my Coleman syndrome, which is another thing I was going to talk about. I'm sorry if I sidetracked from the story. I'll get back to it. But a lot of people, some people know I have Coleman syndrome. It's a hormone deficiency. I was born with it. It causes things like depression. It causes restless nights. Sometimes I sleep 4 hours. Sometimes I can get 6 hours or more. But it's low energy, which is why I drink a lot of coffee or have a lot of energy drinks. I usually have a good energy, but it's usually an artificial energy. The hormone deficiency, it causes anxiety, it causes depression, it causes restlessness, it causes agitation. So these are all inner things, which is part of my topic this morning. Sometimes your problems aren't just superficial problems like a wrong order or a flat tire or a breakup. Sometimes your body is deficient in things. So my body with the Coleman syndrome is deficient. So when I suffer from depression, yes, I suffer from depression from a broken relationship or something, but I also naturally suffer from depression because my body doesn't produce the hormones, the testosterone, the dopamine, etc., etc. And so we're in this storm in the story. I got the story right here. Again, another shot of my fire during my fireside chat. And so they're stuck in the storm here, and they're talking about, you have option A, option B, option C. Option A is the quick and easy, instant gratification and recovery. We talk about that all the time. You need that right here, right now, and you jump on the first thing. But in this case, they're saying, no, go the distance, which is a great, a metaphor or even just something great to strive for. Go the distance. Don't get the quick and easy. Don't go for the fast food of life when you could be going for your filet mignon and lobster tails. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the person in this story is in the storm, and they're going the distance. They're going for the lighthouse. Amen to that, to them. So, Jesus isn't always going to be, or God isn't going to always be the loudest voice or the thing you see right away, especially if you're going through struggles and you're looking for that instant gratification and you're taking back control. It's harder to see the signs. You're always getting the signs. God is a God of small things. And when life is going well and life is going right, you'll see those small things. I was talking with a brother this morning, Damon, and he was blessed because he went to the store for one thing. He was shortchanged. He had to go back, and by the time he got back, a blessing occurred when he got there and back. I won't get into details, but again, he was so excited because it was something so simple that you might take for granted or every day, and he was richly blessed for it. But that's his attitude, and that's his spiritual walk right now. Is he could find $1 on the street, and that would make his day. And there's a lot of us that we can find a 20 on the street, and we'll be looking for another 20 somewhere because we found the first one. Be happy with what you got and accept the small blessings as they are. You already see them. Just really focus on them and anchor yourself in that. So again, back to the story. The tribulation of which Jesus speaks is real. In the temple, it happened to him. It appears in the church. It appears at work. It appears with loved ones. So you do tend to go through storms with everybody and everything, but you don't panic. You must endure. You must go the distance. Keep steering toward him. Faith isn't about having all the answers or dodging every wave. It's about knowing where the lighthouse is and trusting it enough to keep going, especially when false safety beckons us to stop. So how great is that? Last year, I was praying for a great job, and it really was a great job. I was praying for a great job last year. It would have paid my bills. It would have paid my rent. It would have kept me happy. It would have been 40 hours a week that probably would have flew by in minutes because I would have loved and enjoyed it so much. But at the time, I was still wrestling with my demons. I was still, entertaining vices. And I just wasn't living the life I was meant to live. I was getting by. And I talked about that last week a couple of times too. Don't live to get by. This is life. You only get one shot at it. And, strive to be alive. sorry for all of the little quirky isms. But they're easier to remember than a whole 20-minute message, just to keep those things and kind of ponder on them and think about that stuff. So it looks like I'm losing my connection. I actually had a cast earlier this morning, and it was so windy that I thought that's why I was losing my connection. So hopefully I haven't lost you all today. I'll try again a little later, but I did want to get that quick message across to you today, and I want you to keep the faith. I want you to stay strong. I want you to just have a peaceful day. It's Sunday. Relax a little bit. Watch some football. Make that good meal you're going to enjoy. Take your time with things and talk to somebody. Write something. Sing something. Listen to something. Go see a movie. It's Thanksgiving week coming up, and there's probably something good out in the movie theater. Just to kind of get yourself readjusted. Reset. Unplug for a little while, plug right in, make sure you're plugging into the right things. Again, that's what I was talking about in today's homily and message, was don't look for the fastest and easiest route. Sometimes you got to go wither the storm in order to get to where you need to be, which is where I believe you're supposed to be in the first place. And I think that's what God wants for you. He wants that for everybody. And it's easier to see those things and follow with those things when you're doing the right thing by yourself, for yourself, and you know what you need. And it's just I hope that you take the time today to need to readjust whatever it is you need to readjust, to make decisions, to be sober minded, and just act on your mind and your heart without necessarily going through any emotions that can go up and down depending on what you eat, drink, or experience through others. Don't go with rash emotion or raw emotion. Think things through. Some things are better left unsaid and left undone than having to explain yourself afterwards or have a week's worth of regret instantaneously. So go for the gold, not the silver or the bronze. Finish the race, even if you're finishing dirty. I like the idea of playing the game. You're in the World Series. There's 2 out. The ball is hit. You're heading for home plate. Are you going to sit there in your white, clean uniform and walk across and look all pretty, or are you going to be all dirtied up, banged up, and you slide in head first, not even knowing if you're going to get knocked unconscious, just to get home and just to score that run and finish the game and win it? So be in it to win it. Strive to be alive. Have a great and wonderful, blessed day. I'll talk to you again. Take care. God bless. Peace. Ciao.